All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy Doc. It is May 7th, 2024. I just want to take a few minutes to go over a demonstration of the QTA tools, otherwise known as Quant trading app. There'll be a link in the description below of how we use these tools for the past couple days on Microsoft. All right, what you're looking at here is the Quant trading chart. These are quantitative levels. They're not sourced from options chain. They're not sourced from technical analysis. They're using proprietary quantitative calculations that we're not going to get into. But what we're looking at here is your buy zone, your sell zone, which are weekly levels, your intraday zones. These are ranges that change from day to day. Your 2-day VWAP, which is similar to the regular VWAP, but it uses 2 days worth of data. So it's a little smoother and in my eyes, more respected, right? Outside from that, we have the 2 sigma lines. These are the outliers that about 94% of the action happens within it. So if you touch it or you go outside of it, you might be looking to come back down. Last week, Microsoft touched the 2 sigma support. So based on what we're just saying, we could gather that the price action wants to gravitate towards the other 2 sigma, or at least back to the 50-50 or the midpoint line, the homeostasis, or however you will. Doesn't necessarily mean that's always going to be the journey it takes, but this is what we look for, 2 sigma to 2 sigma. Let's get a little more zoomed in on what the price action was. Now, this I alerted to the room yesterday, was saying, first of all, the technical levels opened up. I said, there are some support levels after a nice run to close out on that Friday. There are some nice support levels that if it holds this, it has a chance to go higher for Microsoft. But we want to test those support. This is what it looked like yesterday for Microsoft before we came down to touch it. This was the move that you're going to be looking for. You want to test the intraday levels. We want to test them or break them. We want to test them, test them and have a rejection, or test them and break them. We want to have a break and retest for lower, or rejection or bounce for higher, right? And what had happened was this panned out. We came down, the midpoint held us. Remember the midpoint I was just saying between the 2 sigmas? The midpoint was our support. It had the confluence of the 2-day VWAP and the intraday below, just in case that didn't hold. But that was enough for the price action to go higher. It blew right past the daily VWAP, right? Right past that. Just came back to test it. But now we're on our way to the top of the intraday zone there. And what the end of the day brought us was the test of the top intraday, right? Similar to this action. Came down, we tested one intraday, and we go up to test the next intraday, the higher one. Except this time, we didn't bounce, we didn't get a rejection. We had a duel, if you will, a little bit of a debate, a little argument, some chess match going on, and then a pop higher. We're approaching the sell zone, which is about 415 and 29 cents. Let's call it 415. Keep that number in mind. We're going to go back to technical analysis. And we have this new trend line now that came up using the earnings spike, the same trajectory of the trend line we were in, roughly, just eyeballing it really. And now we're reaching some type of resistance right here. Where does that resistance come from? Is it just coming from anywhere? Well, let's take a look at what the GEX has to say. The GEX stands for gamma exposure. This chart really measures volatility and liquidity, right? We have let's back up to earlier in the day today. Let's go around 12:15. We had a 415 spike, and behind that a call volume spike. So that was what in the morning ran into. I think it was a little fatter in the morning, a little wider, but 415 was the top of the call volume spike and the high GEX that was right there. And then we had this big drop off of that. So what was the high that we ran into there? 414.94. There was no real technical level that could tell us, hey, 415 is a solid level. Maybe right here, the opening, you can kind of call that, but that would not have been, this way would stand out more, 417. So if we're looking to play a call on the upside and we're spiking in the morning, I would say, okay, 417 or 419 would be our goal. There's nothing on this chart that says 415 would be some type of resistance, but it is. And what else has 415 on it? This right here. This is the sell zone, right? We approach this. We're looking at yesterday's data. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to today. That's another thing about QTA. You can back test almost anything. I mean, this goes back to like, don't quote me on this, but maybe 2020. I wouldn't look at anything before 2020. The information is just different anyway. But you can backtest any type of, infamous trade you have in your head. But so we come down from that sell zone running into an intraday. This is the south intraday. The north intraday is above the sell zone. So this area is not out of the picture yet, but we're just running into a little bit of contention, right? Where there's a contest happening here. We say, all right, we don't have enough energy to do that. Sorry, we got your number. We'll come back. We'll come back. Now this time the 2-day support failed. Usually when the 2-day support fails, you have a break and a retest. Similarly to what happened yesterday, we broke it, kind of came back, wanted to say it, but we just had so much momentum, but we followed it the whole way along. You'll get used to this and use it in your own specific ways according to your own trading style, but we're just looking level to level. So once we break this area, where's our next level? Right down the intraday is at 406.50. Let's go back to our technical chart and see if 406.50 we have any confluence there. 406.50 right here, this was a resistance on Friday, right? That big run up Friday morning, ran into that resistance. Now that is our support. That lines up with our quantitative chart. We now have confluence from two different sets of data. So keep in mind, the technical analysis is an art and a science that we create with our own eyes and our own lines and drawings. Then we have the GEX, the gamma exposure, which lets us know where the call volumes are, the put volumes. This is based on the options chain. Aside from that, we have the cold, hard math, and that is the quant trading charts. This is a third set of data. I call it the hidden market. Bryant, the creator, he likes to call it it's almost like using X-ray specs. Whatever you like to refer to it as, this is a separate set of data that you can overlay on top of what you're already used to using. So I like to find levels using technical analysis and the quant trading chart. Then based on those levels, we can find areas of importance. So for instance, when we ran into that 415 level, there was this 410 level that had a high GEX bar, and the absolute GEX. Absolute GEX is just a measure of liquidity. The highest absolute GEX, wherever that strike lands on, that's where the highest level of liquidity is according to absolute GEX. You match that up with this high GEX, also high liquidity. We now have a confluent level as a magnet. So this is a draw upon the price action. This is the spot price where the current price is, a draw on it. We got rejected at this call volume spike here and this high GEX. Now we're traveling down here, and then we can fast forward in time. This is the beauty of the feed. We have a record instant right at our fingertips. And where do we gravitate down to? From 415, we're getting there, and then bam, we met up at 410 where the highest confluence level is. Now, some people use this as a support and resistance. They'll say this is like a fall off or a gap down or a gap off. They use that type of lingo in the community. You guys can get used to it if you like, but that's a very important point. And very important point is that there is no main attraction level lower here. This is not to say this dictates price action. This is a measure of liquidity and volatility. If these navy blue lines turn red, that means the net GEX is net negative. Right now it's not, so we have a little bit of slow moving price action. Tomorrow, these levels can all change, similarly to how they change from Monday to Tuesday. Now, I want to make this video under 10 minutes, so we're not going to get into that. But if you do decide, come to the quanttradingat.com. There'll be a link in the description. Use code DNOW30. That will give you your first month for 30% off. Reach out to me once you join. I can go over and we get you set up. We do workshops every week. I may be doing another one this Thursday. So today is the 7th. If you decide to come on and join, we'll do another one. Just tap me in DMs and say, hey, I want to do another workshop. I'll say, okay, we'll do one. And we'll do it live on Thursday and get you all set up. But every week we have workshops and onboarding. And there's plenty of videos from Trading Lit. That's Brian's YouTube channel, Trading Lit. You can see what's going on there. But so getting back real quick before we let you go, it's not to say that there's a bearish move happening on Microsoft. I mapped out the trajectory if we do stay in the trend. But there's still a lot of sentiment that Microsoft could go higher, right? Using that, do I still have it? Yeah, I do. I used this in a lesson today. This is the run-up. And if we form using the trend line, if we hold that support at the that famous level that we just talked about, the 406.50, if we hold that level, we then start forming a descending triangle that could give us the bullish pattern that a lot of people are looking for up to the 429 area, I thought. And there is some interest up there. It's waning a little bit. This was a little higher, 420. There was even some more action up at 425 because the price action moved down. People get a little skittish. They start, reducing their action they had a little higher. But if you'll see if this holds, especially if 406.5 starts, well, the travel down to 406.5 will change this map immensely, right? So keep that in mind. But we're still holding at the 410 area, even though we're at 409 now. It's still $1.25 under 410. But that's in an essence of what we were looking at today and what we played on a local level. Trading intraday, we were able to trade up yesterday, and then today we had a discussion as it was consolidating, and we actually played a little bit down to this level here. We created this level during the workshop, and I'm not going to go over those, but if you do join, I will gladly explain them. So tomorrow, we're looking for an open within this area, below this trend line and above this. If either one of those broke or break, we could see action this way to the top if that breaks, or this way to the bottom if that takes. This is the main level that we're looking for to hold, the 406.50, roughly 406.50, like 406 to 407 area. So I hope that was not too all over the place, but I do hope I got my point across. If you have any questions, send me an email at doc@oneononestocks.com, or you can find me over at Quant Trading app. There's a public chat area to get in, and people post there. I know I post there all the time. And if you have any questions, you can find me there. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget, please like and subscribe and hit the bell. I don't do these on the regular just yet, but you'll be notified when I do. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you next time.